Okay.
So good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Amity. I'm the affiliated club coordinator. And this evening we'll take an hour, no more, we promise, and just chat a little bit about what's going on in the section. But you all have a opportunity with the kind of the overhead question being, so what should the section be doing for you, as opposed to what is the section doing at you? And Steve, welcome. I don't know which club you are affiliated with. I know I saw your name in some emails, but I've lost connectivity to a club. So if you join and give us your club affiliation, that would help me. Or if Ed, you know it.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, he'll come. So I'll turn it over to Jack for some opening comments. Jack, over to you.
Well, first, welcome and thank you all for showing up for this evening's session. Tonight, I think, is going to be especially good because a lot of good information came out from the league that Mike will be reviewing with you in a couple of minutes. And is that someone else that just came in? Let me see.
No, he dropped out.
We lost somebody. That might have been. Yeah, here he is coming back. So, as you know, I took off.
Hey, Jack, let's see if Steve got calm. Steve, can you hear us?
And you are muted, Steve, so we couldn't hear you.
All right, continue, Jack. I'll work on the comm side of this.
Okay. So as you know, I took office on April 1st. Somehow that's appropriate. Anyway, the platform I ran on was three things: communicate, collaborate, and coordinate. And the big thing, of course, the overarching one is communicate. We are a communication service, and we have not been particularly good at communicating amongst each other as an organization. So I'm working with as many people as I can to try to fix that so that we all know what each other is doing to the best that we can, and can be able to communicate with our partners, whether it's our local community or an emergency communications, an organization that needs emergency communications, and of course each other within the section and external. So the next part is collaborate, to work together to make things better. So whenever we're doing something like, you're doing a recruiting drive and you see great success, document that and share it so that we all know what each other's doing and what the best practices are. And you should never have to develop a program from scratch. There are a lot of programs out there already that we can share with each other. Now, of course, depending on where you're at in the state, you're going to have to adjust it for where you're at. We were discussing with some folks night before last that are down in the Southwest Hoe. Things are much different there than they are up in Northern Virginia, where you have a high population density. So, but the overall idea of a program for recruiting and retention is pretty much the same. You're gonna have to, like I said, you're gonna have to adjust it, but you can share with each other and look to other clubs that are in similar situations to see how to do that. And then finally, there's coordinate. To get people active, well, you've got to do something to make them active. So we see a lot of these different groups. And in fact, I'm trying to think of who the heck it was. Well, Vienna Wireless is one of them that brings in outside presenters and does that via Zoom or Teams or whatever. Now, for a smaller club, that's not really possible. You're not going to be able to get enough audience to do that. But you can pair up with other clubs throughout the state to do that. So 3 or 4 clubs are sharing airspace, as it were, and bringing up those numbers, then you'll be able to get people in to do those presentations. But that takes, a little bit of coordination with each other. So that also goes back to communicate. So communicate and coordinate. And that's really the big thing, is to try to get us all so that we all work together and improve the section and bring our numbers up and maintain our numbers. Mike and Ed will be talking about that in a little bit with a program that they're working on. But that's pretty much it. And if anyone has any questions at any time during tonight's presentation or something at the end that's of particular interest, please feel free to let me know.
Hey, Jack, I've got a couple of comments that kind of supplement you, but if you have just a moment, could I pass on a few things?
You certainly can.
All right, I'm on, and I need to run because I have a 7:30 net tonight that I need to make comments on also. But anyway, I'll stay around till then. Under communications, for years, I can't even think back how far now, I have a seat on the Hampton Roads Emergency Management Committee. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it encompasses the emergency managers from all the cities and all the supporting facilities like Red Cross, military bases and stuff like that. So I'm a communications portal into any of that. And that particular group meets every other month, and they've been meeting virtually recently. They've just gone back to real meetings. And I'm getting to the point the health is not letting me travel enough to do all this. So Randy is taking over for what I'm doing. I'm working him into that. But the meetings sometimes take place up in James City County, and that's real close to you, I believe. So maybe you want to come with me one day.
Well,
And
no, I'm in Ruckersville.
Oh, I thought I wrote down Williamsburg beside you. I'm sorry. Okay, that won't work. But anyway, just to be aware that in Tidewater, that capability exists, and it's basically District 5 because we do all of the Eastern Shore, everything from Gloucester south and from Surrey to the ocean front.
Well,
So we cover that area and can interact between areas, and because we have the nuclear station, we work under the RACES flag for that.
Mm-hmm.
But just to let you know, I'm a contact for those kind of things, and we'll go ahead and catch as much of this meeting as time will allow.
If you would,
Dick,
just
with
give me
this-
the schedule
with-
on that. Dick, did you hear me?
No,
Yeah, if you would send me the schedule on the next upcoming meetings, and I'll try to make one. I can't guarantee which one I'd make, but I can try to make one.
all right, and we'd make it one that Randy or I are attending, so you have someone that can introduce you to the group, and they were a pretty friendly group, but and they alternate meetings from the peninsula side to the south side every other month. So every 4 months, there's a meeting on the peninsula side.
Okay.
Hey, Dick, I would
Yes,
be
sir.
really interested in anything that goes on in James City County, being in Williamsburg. So please let me know when they're meeting there. Does Chris Curson get involved with that?
No, he doesn't. We have met in the James City County Emergency Operations Center, and we've seen your radio setup that you have in there. So that's pretty neat.
I will be glad if Jack can't get down here, I'll be glad to represent him in any way, shape or form for District 5, Dick.
Great.
So I'll let you work with Jack on that. And if he wants me to show, I'll show and report to him.
Fine, Ed.
Dick, it's Don. If you could put me on your Christmas card list there, and I would be interested, in maybe representing the southern part of the peninsula here.
Yeah, and a lot of the times there's things that are interesting to ham radio, but mostly it's we're stressing our support to them, and we're making sure that they're aware of what the capabilities are in their EOCs. We do let them know when all the field day exercises are, where they are, invite them to attend all the field days. So one of the things I have to round up is a list of where all the field day exercises are and get that out to them. But anyway, it's been kind of fun. I'm just getting a little too old to keep running for it.
So Jack, it's okay. What I'd like to do, given that Dick's gonna vaporize in 20 minutes,
Yep.
is maybe move towards the end of the presentation discussion
Mhm.
and talk about the GOTA activities as to plant the seed. And then we'll come back to the more open forum that we were planning on
Yes.
doing. So Dick, for your information before you go, we are proposing out of the section that for those clubs that are running field day activities, if they happen to be running a get on the air, a GOTA activity, that, well, the exercise of field day is to make as many contacts as you can to as many people in the world, or at least within North America. We'd like to kind of stop the activities in the GOTA tent for about a half hour late in the day on Saturday, the 25th, and have all the GOTA tents link in via Zoom. So there'd have to be some kind of an internet connection, say a telephone linked to a hotspot or something like that, so that they see that there are other people like them, new hams or hams to be or interested public, and having just an interchange between those GOTA stations across the Commonwealth. And it'll be a little bit structured to run something more like a net, so they get a sense that, okay, what field day is about contacts, but there's also this other thing that's associated with traffic and nets and stuff like that. So
Well, very good.
hard to
And we
follow on
usually,
that.
we usually have had a GOTA station set up at each event. Last year we did not, because we had conducted a fairly small field day.
Right.
We have a meeting coming up, club meeting on May 9th. And there we're going to discuss what we're going to do this year. And it's could probably be the same thing because we had a really good site over in Suffolk, and probably operate 1 or 2 stations only. So we'll know something here in a few days.
And you'll see something on this. There's a written plan, and the section newsletter coming out a little bit later in the month is going to describe some of this. But in fact, actually, I can throw something to you all if you want it. Don and Jack, and now John, who just joined, this idea of a GOTA, what I'm calling a GOTA confab, just kind of a talking around among these new hams to be in the public that happen to be in the GOTA tent at 4:15 in the evening on Saturday. Is this something that intrigues you in your clubs, do you think? Don, you go first.
Right. So, in the past, we've sort of focused on the number of contacts and all that. We normally roll up 1,000, but we do when a new ham comes in, we slow stuff up, and we have them watch, and then we have them log, and then once they get tired of logging, they give us the thumbs up. I want to sit on the mic. And then we go, right? And so we dropped, so GOTA per se, we dropped the GOTA trailer, which was actually, or is the old Colony, District 7 first Colony trailer, and which is housed up at Newport News. But anyway, we dropped it because it was tough dedicating a ham to manning it and getting people to sit on position and all that kind of thing. So we just like, hey, we'll just get them on the real, one of the three positions. We run 3 alpha here, always, plus VHF. And however, I'm open to new ideas, and it depends on, how many are there at that time. Some guys they turn out to be night owls, right? So they show up at 10 o'clock on Saturday night, and they work till 8 o'clock in the morning. So but I'm open, whomever is available. If we can get the connection, that's actually the harder thing. We're mooching off church property here in the middle of the city. So anyway, so there's some logistical things we gotta figure out first.
Understand totally.
Yeah.
Jack, what about you? Intriguing idea
Well,
on the surface?
we almost always have a dedicated go-to station, and I know we did last year. And we make a big effort to get all of our technicians on the air on that go-to station. So we have somebody that's monitoring that all the time, and it's been fairly successful. The difficulty that I would see would be cell coverage in that area so that we could connect to the internet. I did a DMR demo last year as far as one of our training sessions, and I really had internet connectivity there. But you know, that's something that we can investigate. You know, maybe we can use a different cell carrier and get better internet connectivity at our location. So yeah, I'm interested in that.
So we're going to get some more details of that out. It's not going to fit everybody, and we don't want to force it. But a theme I think you're going to hear from us is there is a unique role that the clubs play in the ARRL structure that we in the Commonwealth have not been taking advantage of for a while. And it's time to bring the clubs back in the role that they traditionally do, which is they're the interface to the members, and they're the Elmers of first retort. And that's this whole idea about communicating and getting them on the air. A statistic I like to throw around is sadly about half the technicians licensed in a year never touch a radio. And obviously Field Day is a beginning to that. But boy, I'll tell you, if you're a new technician and you hear Field Day going for 2 hours, you might say, is that ham radio? I don't know. Some of us love that, but it's a somewhat of a furball. Hey, I got enough of a sense, and Steve, I see you've successfully negotiated the connectivity, so hang on. And John, welcome. Why don't you take a minute or two and pick up this thought, not only the Go to Confab, which is just a strictly Field Day event this year in trying to bring connectivity, collaboration between clubs during Field Day, knowing full well that they're all very busy getting contacts made. Ed's going to talk a little bit about something that we're calling GOTA for Life. Ed,
so in discussing and hearing what Mike had to say, I was really taken aback by that statistic. And in fact, talking to Randy Grigg this afternoon, he thinks that number may be even higher.
I do too.
50%. So the thing I thought of, and the three gentlemen across the board there, I see Jack, Dick, and Don know some of the work that I've done over as assistant section manager PIC before with newsletters and things like that. And of course, Dick, I visited your club. Don, I've known you through the work with Aries here in Southeastern Virginia. Jack, I have a great relationship with. I got it with Toby and Dino, and keeping that up with you all over the years through your group's IO. So my thing is, and we've got this, and John, nice to meet you, and Steve, I think you're Rockbridge County, if I'm not mistaken. Do I have that right? Yeah. So, and John, I haven't checked out your county yet. The idea is, the theme would be, and this will go till December 2023, growing our clubs, GOTA for life. And what we're going to explore as a think tank to develop resources that will enable clubs to bring about effective programming for their amateur radio operators who are, let's say with Vienna, they've got wonderful programming. Let's see, Williamsburg, Hour of Power. You get them right off the bat. Mike, you get them off the bat at Vienna, and then hams that have been away from ham radio, they're the rusty hams. They get pulled back into the fold. Hams that have just gotten their tickets and keeping them on the air to the day they become silent key. So that's going to be a thematic thing. So to be able to build that, I'm going to develop a design team. And I've already asked people to join. And how to join? I asked. You provide me with personnel that might be interested. More the merrier to begin with, because people may want to drop out over a year's time. Quarterly meetings that will be information gathering, information sharing, and problem solving. So, Dick, I've already asked Randy to join, but I'm telling
Excellent.
you, with your club and my relationship with your club in the past, bring me somebody else too, if you want, including yourself. Jack, same thing. The Pappases are going to be on the team. Bring me Cynthia Frank. If you want, bring me whomever you want. They've got 9 or 10 YL extras. Bring them on. Okay, look, he's like, Don, I don't have anybody from Spark. If somebody's interested, email me.
Yeah, so I'll anyway, I'm the VP of the club and also VP of the Hampton Public Service Team. So I can do that. I do the
Email
programs.
me at kw4gf@arrl.net for that confirmation that you're interested.
Roger.
Okay, and Steve, I'm glad you're here from Rockbridge, because this type of programming is also going to be geared towards rural clubs. And that N3JC is John Cooper from CARS, Chesapeake Amateur Radio Service. And they were the standard for winning a governor's award for the remodeling of the EOC down in Chesapeake. So John, I already emailed Mike about this initiative. If you would see to it that we get somebody from CARS on board, I appreciate it. Steve, somebody from Rockbridge wants to join. Someone from Franklin already came on because they have needs. So if y'all have needs too, or you want to bring in your excellent programming to share, email me at kw4gf@arl.net, and we'll begin probably towards the 3rd week of May. And we'll just meet quarterly. And guess what? The best part is I'm not expecting work out of the people who show up. I'm the one doing the work. Y'all helping me find out where I'm going to find things. To the point where if I have to come visit you because you need to show me something, I'll come. All right. But only after September, when my wife's knee is back in order after she gets it replaced. So that's my spiel, guys.
And we been under a lot of pressure from the emergency manager up in Surrey County, where we have very limited hams, to train people there, whether they're fire department people or people on the service teams. And Randy's been trying to get classes set up and see if we can, exactly what you're saying, get them interested. So we can, I'm sure Randy told you we had 2 new repeaters on there.
He told me about
I won't go into
the
that.
setup. I am so incredibly excited. You can tell the whole gang about this setup because it's going to be magnificent.
The county up there has been very receptive to helping ham radio. So it's Randy's done a good job there. But yeah, we're trying to do exactly what you need to do in almost virgin territories. So wish us luck.
Well, join, and you know what? I'm looking for prototypes, control groups. So like Franklin County wants to be one. If you want to play this control thing where we start from scratch with y'all and see how our data points increase, that'd be great. They also have this incredible repeater network that starts out in the in Isle of Wight and heads all the way up towards Petersburg. And they have worked hard on that.
Hopefully that's going to be working. Right now, our repeater in Isle of Wight is linked almost permanently with Franklin, with the UHF in Franklin.
Right.
And as soon as we work out some little audio issues between me and Randy on the repeaters, we should be able to leave a link up from Surrey back down to Isle of Wight also.
Well, at least one thing will happen. Maybe Zuni at Route 460 will flood, but you guys won't.
We have places.
And that's it for me, Jack. Hope you all get me somebody for this team. Would love to have somebody. So and again, the extra clubs there, you've already get me somebody else too, including some new people who maybe have some ideas, people you don't even think to ask, and ask them, because you never know with bringing some people who've never been officers, never been involved, and all of a sudden something sparks it, you know?
The one thing that I'd like to add to this for Ed is that it's a menu approach. You have you get to pick and choose what parts you see will work for your area. You know, so it's like going to a fast food place. You may want the burger, and fries, or you may want the fish sandwich and onion rings. So each one of those modules will be able to stand alone, but support the overall program. So that way, as you see people, what their interests are, you'll be able to pick and choose from those and adapt. And also, if you have some kind of overall training mission that you're trying to support, like what Dick was talking about, you may be able to incorporate those into that as well.
And if any of you, I'm a former educational or public education teacher and administrator. So I try to bring those techniques into play, and it works real well with adults. If any of you are interested in a meeting technique, I tried, it got published by QST, the News and Features, October 2015. The article's called A Shot in the Arm. And it's all about getting people involved in meetings in a different way. So that'll give you an idea who I am and what I am. Really good idea, and how I've interfaced a career in education into working with ham operators in Virginia Beach.
So
Thank
Dick,
you.
mindful of your time, you may be fading out, but we don't want to quit yet. What we wanted to do in this last half hour is kind of turn the tables a little bit. I'll set it up, and kind of tease some ideas out of you. But this is as much a listening session for Ed, Jack, and myself than it is anything else. As we begin to think about these ideas, probably most of you know that as the ACC, the affiliated club coordinator, I'm pushing down the ARRL list of new hams that comes out every month. So about the first week of the month, there's a listing of all new licensed hams in the Commonwealth of Virginia, well, across all the United States. And what you may not know is that's averaging about 50 to 60 new hams across the Commonwealth a month. So that's around 600, 650 hams a year, newly minted. But as I mentioned, and Ed even has had conversations with people that say, I may be too liberal in my thought process here, but many of those technicians never get on the air. We need more hams. What we really need to do also is to get the hams we have engaged. And one group are those technicians that, they are introduced to the 2-meter repeater. They turn it on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 7:30 at night, and they don't hear anything on the one channel, and they think that's all there is ham radio. Boy, we got a lot of education to do. There's another group of people that represent the 24,000 hams in the Commonwealth. That's the number that's licensed, 24,000. And my best guess is maybe 10 to 12,000 of those are active. And that seems reasonable if you start thinking about some of the other numbers. If you add up all the members of the clubs, the 65 clubs in the Commonwealth, we have about 4,000 members among all the clubs. And so 4,000 out of 10,000, 40% of the ham radio operators in the Commonwealth who are active in clubs. That's a pretty reasonable number from what I see from my counterparts in the other states. But why is it only 40%? This new hams list that comes out every month and is getting down to your club gives you an opportunity at the club level to write a letter welcoming that new ham, say happens to be from Surrey or from Chesapeake or Virginia Beach or wherever. And one of the things we're missing is, what about the gaps? What about the guys in a county where there's not even a ham radio club involved? What's being done in those areas to entice those hams? There are not many of those in comparison, but are we touching all the hams that we could be touching on that new ham list? That list also includes all of the new ARRL members. They aren't necessarily new hams, but they've decided to join ARRL. So again, using the power of each of the 65 clubs to contact these folks and entice them to become part of the club scene is something that, at least from the ACC point of view, we're attempting to do. We think there's great things being done in many of the clubs, and they're not given the pizzazz that could happen. ARRL has a designation that's called a service, what's the name of it, Ed?
Special service.
Special Service Club. We only have one that's registered in the Commonwealth. But there are more clubs doing great things. And it doesn't take a lot of paperwork to get to that special designation, but it adds another star in the quiver.
Well, guys, I've got to run, so let me jump out. I appreciate y'all putting up with me for the meeting, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to make the rest of this, but I have a bunch of announcements to make in about 2 minutes. So let me get out of here.
Yeah, we're
Dick, if you have some ideas, send them along to me when you send me that name from your club, if you got anybody else.
Thank you, Ed.
All right.
And have a great evening, guys, and maybe we can do this again sometime. Very best
Good night, Dick.
73.
73.
So you've heard a little bit about us and what we're thinking about doing from the section leadership down towards the club, with the idea of making the clubs as a collaborative and coordinated group have more power than each and every individual club by itself. Not by changing the culture of each and every club or trying to dictate what they do or how they do it, but by just linking ideas and thoughts and hitchhiking on those across the board. One might be, and this is done in both the Eastern Massachusetts section and the Western Massachusetts section. They have one manager who is pulling all of the presentation topics that are being presented by all the clubs in the section and putting them up on a website. And the speakers designate if they would be willing to present that topic to other clubs or drive either by electronically through Zoom or drive to that other club. And if so, how far are they willing to drive to present to another club, the topic, whatever it might be. Or you just see the list of topics and say, I can do that. Or I know somebody can do that. And there's another topic that just hasn't been talked about that might add to the knowledge and skills of our hams in our clubs. But let's turn the table around. What if you were to ask this section for help? What is it that you might ask for help? Ideas.
Can I say?
Yes, please, John.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Yeah, I'm very interested in that list of new amateurs because we use a for-pay service here at Chesapeake Amateur Radio Service. That is it's called Constant Contact, and I've handed out in the past 3 years. I've handed out surveys to people to understand. If they show us any interest at all, they get on my list. And
Right.
we try to coordinate the interest of the people with other people with the same interests. This list has 333 email addresses in it, and we use that list to selectively send out emails to invite people, and it has saved our club through this pandemic. We've been able to keep this club together. I'm always interested in more email addresses of new hams that are interested in. They don't have to be members of anything, just interested in amateur radio. If I could get access to that from the FCC or from the ARL rather,
Right.
that would be good, because I'm always looking for more email addresses that are good. And it's very, we're able to send out notices for meetings and notices for events, and even I'm involved in the technician class right now. I'm up on the podium in about 30 minutes, but we're able to send out class notes to them before they come to the class. It's a very powerful tool that we're always looking for more email addresses. So we have that to encourage new amateurs to at least let them feel like, if you showed us some attention, we won't forget you.
And in Truth in Lending, the list is coming to each of the clubs right now, and they're going to the club POC on the ACC club database. And I was searching to see if I could see who that is. And when I stop talking, I'll go look and see. So
Okay.
that list is floating around in your clubs somewhere. But the question
Okay.
is it getting to anybody who actually could use it?
Yeah, we may
but
not
let
have
me-
somebody with that title. We may not have
Well,
somebody with that title.
And I'll in a minute, I'll stop and I'll find you on my list of my mailing list to see who I'm actually sending to. Because it more than likely, I'm not sending to the president or the vice president. I'm sending to the quote POC for the web-based maintenance. And oftentimes that's the secretary.
Yes, and that would be Blair, and he's the perfect person to send that to. Yes.
Okay, good. Well, I'll confirm that. By the way, the list doesn't have a lot of email addresses, unfortunately. FCC is only beginning to collect email addresses for new licensees.
Okay.
I see them in the VE sessions I've been proctoring in the last couple months. More and more are showing up on the page, on the application page. So presumably they'll be showing up in further lists come out. The list is also available on a website, but John, I'll send you some details.
Okay, good.
By an
Good.
email, and
we-
you'll see that. I assume your email is good in QRZ.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, good.
We found that technique to be very, very effective and a lifesaver during the COVID thing. We
Yeah, and
kept
I'm-
everybody together.
And I looked up this thing called Constant Contact. I'm not familiar with it,
Yeah,
but that's intriguing to me.
Yeah, that's it's a 4-pay service. I got a special deal about 4 years ago for $3 a month, and I think they forgot about me because they're charging a lot more now, but they never bother me. So
Yeah,
I
pay
think
$3.
I'm like laughing because
Yeah,
that's
don't
John's
remind them.
forte.
yeah, I'll make sure I don't say I heard it from John. So what
Right,
else?
because they'll say,
This
"He's not
is
paying for
so this is a listening system with the focus being on you all taking a few moments and jotting out some ideas. If you run out of ideas, I'll throw a couple at you, but I'd rather hear them coming up the chain as opposed to me throwing them down.
Right.
So
It's an email advertising service, and they do a good job of metering out the emails and keeping addresses private and not sending. If an email address fails, they'll never send it again. They do a good job of administering it, and it works out well because the emails they know how to send out 300 emails gradually so the system won't choke. They
Yep.
do a very good job of that.
there's a free service that does it similar to that, and it's called MailChimp.
MailChimp, yeah.
And MailChimp has some fairly good data tools behind to do some stuff. Jack,
Well,
Don, Steve, have I tickled your fancy on ideas?
Well, one of the things that I would really like to see would be a list of all of the club presidents. I am, this is my first year as an officer of the club. I spent last year as a program manager for the club, but, we have a lot of activities going on, and I would really like to invite other clubs to participate. We purchased a couple $1,000s worth of video equipment so that we could video our face-to-face meetings, because we've got a lot of members that are out of the area. We got them down in North Carolina. We've got them up in the DC area, one out in Nebraska. So we want to Zoom everything out to those people. And I'd like to invite the other clubs in the area to participate in our programs. And I think that that would be a really good thing for everybody, because if they participate in our programs, maybe we could get them to do some presenting to our club. So that's
Hey,
what I'd like to see.
Steve, even though you're not part of Southeastern Virginia, take Williamsburg up on their offer. Like, say, I'm in. You want to do that with your club. Take them up. I promise you won't lose out on that one.
Hey, Jack, we can get that for you. Mike, you think you can send that to me as just the listing, and then I can get that posted tomorrow?
Well, certainly I sent it out in last month's ACC update, asking the POCs to take a look at the presidents and update it. So it's floating around in the clubs, but I'll make a point of sending it out to you all. Yes, it
Okay.
already exists. It's only as good as the ACC data. One
Got it.
thing I don't try to do is manipulate the data. What I try to do is get the POCs to update the authoritative database. And if they update the authoritative database, then when I pull it down, I'll have it. And that's not some special spreadsheet that's sitting in my computer, but that has been updated manually. So I work with a lot of the POCs to get the database up to date. If you ever need to know a president of a club that you're interested in, you can go to the ARRL website and type in "find a club." And if you want to know Rappahannock Valley, just type in the keyword Rappahannock Valley, and you can see the listing of their president, their vice president, if they listed their secretary, their point of contact, which is the database point of contact, et cetera. When they meet, how many members are in the club, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of data that's out on the website. Jack, would you be interested in having a meeting like this with just the presidents?
Sure.
Okay, guys, I have to go up and teach now. We got a technician class going on and I'm up next, so I gotta leave.
Before
Just
you go,
remember,
John,
listening.
before you
Yeah.
go, I'd be interested in Dwayne on this team and anybody else that Cars wants to put in there who's really good with working with ham operators and getting them on the air.
Yeah, Dwayne would be the one. He
All
would-
right, well, let him know that
and
I'm
also
going to
Jim.
call him then.
Yeah, Jim, KG4WJ, he would be good too.
All right, so if you've got, I'll call Dwayne up. If you got the other guy's contact, that'd be great.
Yeah, Jim Rogers.
Oh, yeah,
KG4WJ.
Boy Scout guy. Yes.
Yeah, he organizes his own contest.
Yeah.
He's got people carrying buckets full of radios out into the woods.
Right. I'm good with Dwayne to contact him, but Jim, I don't seem to remember his email. So if you can get me the contact.
Yeah, okay, I can give you that.
All right. Say hi to the
Okay,
guys.
I gotta go, guys. All
Bye-bye.
right,
bye.
talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, Don, you were going to say something a second ago.
Yeah, I was just going to tell Mike, I've got the spreadsheet and I was actually updating it before the Zoom call started. So anyway, I had a change of president. And I just got the email from you here a couple of days ago through about 3 other people. So I'm sitting in for the president who's actually in Scotland right now. And so anyway, I'm sure she's having a good time over there. So anyway, so we're all in. As far as what I wanted to see is that we got like seven cities here down in the southeast. All adjacent to each other, right? So we push inside of our club and the Hampton Public Service team. It's like, my God, if you're gonna sit down at night, turn the radio on, hit scan, and get on a net, and get your call sign out there to other cities so they recognize you and you're not a stranger. And then
The reason I'm saying this is we have our Tidewater DMR tonight.
I'm listening. I'm listening to Dick Harrell right now, and Randy. That's why I'm multitasking here. But anyway, so one thing, we're very emergency management oriented, and it is a detriment. As a VP of both sides of things, it's a detriment to the club, and because everything's emergency management, right? And so my initiative here about 3 months ago was going across the team and the club is to sit there and go, okay, we've got DMR, we got D-Star, we got System Fusion, we've got a Digipeater, we've got this, that, the next thing, a mesh network, all this stuff, and it's like, okay, we need to functionally divide those capabilities. If it has nothing to do with emergency management, then it needs to be with a club, right? Because the club honestly, our club is meandering through the woods, right? And it's like, hey, come on, we need to review the mission. and the mission is very high level. You know, the good of ham radio and art and science of radio. You know that the normal pillars, and you know we join up, we teach class, we you know have the joint BE sessions. That works great. But our club has got to have a mission, and the mission's got to be fun and educational, and also we're you know, on the emergency management side, we got our emergency our the RACES team president got an email from VDEM like 3 weeks ago. It's like, hey, do you guys do out of area operations, right? Like outside the city jurisdiction? It's like, huh, you know. So, because what we've been trying to do is try to get the permission to do that, and then it's like, who's going to do that? And you know, is it going to be the club or is it the team? And what assets are they going to use and all that? So, you know, with the exercises, the earthquake exercise at Roanoke, and you know, Greg up in with Wind Lake Wednesday, you know, formerly with Wind Lake Wednesday, he had exercise up at Scapa on top of Skyline. Is to get the club involved in those Aries events, and you know, go through the whole thing about deploying teams with your own equipment and all that kind of business, and until we get this this jurisdiction thing unraveled with the city here. So those are the things. But our programs, we have a program every month. I'm the VP, right? So I lead the program scheduling, and I do about half the programs, and so we work different mode, you know, introduce people to different modes, or to try to pique interest of the older guys into doing something different, something new, and the whole mentoring Elmer effort. So it really is a struggle to get people to the meetings. I went through some old logs. We used to have 300 members of in the club, right? And now I think we're 28. You know, and it's been 28 to 35 for 10 years now, right? And you know, so I just sort of wonder, it's like, okay, what happened? How did we get from 300 to 28?
And that is what we'll explore with this team.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to throw at you, we learned something from Arthur Feller, Network Engineers Repeater Association. I don't know his call sign. And we have a culture.
ART.
Say that again.
W4.
W4ART. I should have known that. Art Feller. That's it. Anyway, he basically said he doesn't see how there should be a cultural split between MCOM and the rest of ham radio, that we're all in this together. And unfortunately, in our section, that's essentially what became the culture. And that culture that was created may have brought a divide. And instead of dividing, we bring the concepts of emergency management. And again, I brought to Randy Grigg the idea today is, what would happen if we had a vintage radio drill? He'd say, oh, the old guys, we always have that at Isle of Wight. The old guys bring out their stuff for emergency drills all the time. We don't see them any other time, but there's a drill. They're going to bring out their Swans, their Collins, and their Drakes. So the point being is, it has to be, we've got to look at it with our grouping, Go to For Life, as stopping that whole cultural divide and bringing things together, because you can only increase emergency management through the effective training of ham radio operators and getting them on the air to begin with.
Well,
So maybe
think
we'll
of this
talk
way.
about that, Don. I think that would be a big one.
Think about this. I mean, what's contesting other than really practicing emergency communications?
Yeah. So
Hey,
our,
Steve, any thoughts that tickle your mind?
Well, one of the things that we like to see in this area is Aries presence. We don't have anything. We used to years ago. A lot of the members were all involved in Aries. But what we do is rather large MCOM effort in the county of Rockbridge. We host several repeaters on Rocky. VDM utilizes a 330 during the sets. We do have a set every year, a couple times a year. We train everybody with WinLink. Everybody's got a capability in their home, and we have an emergency operations center here, 911 center, that was converted from an old funeral home. They opened their doors to us, and we installed antennas all over the roof, and HF, VHF, UHF, gateway for WinLink. They funded some of our equipment. The 911 center did. Very great rapport with them. They love the radio club here, and we love them. We utilize the facility, the conference rooms for our meetings, and got a very good MCOM relationship in this area. We have a thing with Wednesdays at the hospital, Northwest Region Healthcare Coalition, 13 hospitals are involved. They're all equipped with the same equipment. We operate every Wednesday from the hospital, testing that equipment, great rapport with those people, and they support the club. Well, our biggest drive right now, objective, is to raise our population back up. Like Don mentioned, our high point in our county was 35 hams in a club. Now we're down to about 24. Primarily because of COVID, silent keys, and people relocating. So what we're doing is we just finished canvassing QRZ for every ham in the county. We went through that list and said, okay, who are the silent keys? Who are the people that moved? Made a shorter list out of it, and we have mailed. Did you know that your radio club does the following? And we put emphasis on not only having fun in the field day activities at the 911 center and our emergency communications trailer and all those things, but also things like fox hunting and training and getting your license upgrade. We have classes for upgrades or new techs. So that's been working out pretty well. Slowed down because of COVID, but we're coming back now. So that's what we've been doing. We kind of had a pretty good group of trained hams. Don't see any separation between ham radio and MCOM at all. To me, it's pretty much one and the same. We got people building antennas. We got people doing things that they never thought they would try. And we have just about a number for everybody that needs a number. And I think that helps a lot, because if somebody, us old timers, put their arm around these younger people and say, here, let's show you how you solder, show you how to build something. And they jump in on it. They like it, they learn it, and they do things. What can you guys do to improve it? I think presence, being visible. Aries to me was a big thing in this area. Ron Sokol gave 4KXZ for several years. He and I worked very closely as I was DEC for District 15. It was numbered 15 back then. And we worked very closely on getting packet radio capability on Rocky, and he donated equipment, and we had money. We had some, we worked on the MOU together that VDM finally signed off on. So, I mean, there's people getting involved in this kind of stuff. I don't see any difference again between ham radio efforts and we need a presence back here, definitely. We don't have it. We don't have any leadership in the area. And when one gets together and holds meetings, what's going on in the Commonwealth? How can we help each other in the emergency communication side of it? So, that's what I would like to see. More of that presence and people getting involved and communicating up and down the ranks.
Would you be sure, Steve, that yourself or someone in Rockbridge gets a place at the table of this new initiative for Go to For Life, so we can share in all the successes and all the ideas that your club would have?
Sure.
Great. Just email me at KW4GF at ARRL.net. And we'll get that person on, or if it's you, that's great. But if you got someone, maybe another ham who you say, ooh, that ham's been really doing some stuff with other hams. He's got some great ideas. If that's you, great. If it's somebody else, well, if you're a leader, it's even better to bring up people who maybe aren't in that officer position, but done some things to, well, be futures.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So we're approaching towards the end of the time frame. Jack, do you want to take it over and do any closing comments? What you heard here, et cetera?
Yes, and sadly, there's not a whole lot new in it. I mean, but it kind of, but it's good to hear it confirmed. Like I know Steve's concerned with the ARES, and I have I've been working on that. I don't know if you've heard anything on that. There is an SET draft for this year already out. That should be getting circulated to the DECs soon. Steve, there is a new DEC for District 3. I do not have one for District 2. Let's see, are you in District 3 or District 2?
Rockbridge County, Amherst, we're 6, right?
Said there's 6
Okay.
down there in Buena Vista.
Okay, yep. So let's see, who is
Bill Wells.
Bill Wells. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So he'll be getting that soon and should be developing his district version of it to send to the county and independent city ECs so they can work on theirs. So if you don't see that or hear from that within a reasonable amount of time, let me know and I'll send it BFR direct. I'm trying to avoid that. I'm wanting to get the ECs and DECs to actually, communicate the way they're supposed to and the way that they would be expected to. Don down there in his area, he knows exactly what I'm talking about, where, it'll go through, from the county or independent city to the region, from the region to the state. And it's the same thing for, it should be doing the same thing. But I do know that there has been silence.
You went mute, Jack.
Yes, I knew that. So, in fact, I was saying that there has been silence from, on the ARES front, on the club front, and many fronts for a long time where information has not been flowing. So I'm working on that, and there's already a collaborative website up and a communications site up that we can take advantage of. So the collaborative site is mcomwiki.com or .org. You can find the SET on there. You can find the district emergency operations plans for those that have completed them. There's also a draft in there that they can steal. And I encourage everyone to steal from each other. So like Steve, you were talking about the antenna building projects. If you have if that was documented, please.
You went mute again.
There we go. Apparently my space bar does not like me. But anyway, so that way, if you've got something that you've done in the past that was successful, document it and share it. So that way Jack and Don and all the rest of us can steal from you. There's no reason for anyone to have to write an emergency operations plan from scratch or a training plan from scratch. To that end, I've also started developing some net training plans for ARES nets. I've just got a couple of samples out there. I'm trying to not go over on time. Let me see if I can just share that real quick. And I'm trying to respect everyone's time here and not go over. So Let me just bring this up real quick and show you. Okay, and let me get back to it. So there, on the operating tips and best practices, there are Aries Net training suggestions. The blue link means I've got something in there. The red link means, please, if you have an idea for how to do that, send it to me. If you have some you've already thought of, send it to me. One of the complaints I've heard, I'm trying to not, belabor Aries a lot because this is really supposed to be club, but it's the same thing. If you have something that you know is successful or you have a good idea for, please share that so we can get it to everyone. Send it to me, and or you can put it on the page yourself. All you have to do is log in, create a login, and you can share it. But one of the complaints I've heard is that, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this, where you go to a net and it's a bunch of people talking about how they mowed their grass yesterday. And and I will say it up front that there is no problem in having a social time on a net, but at the same time, a lot of our newer amateur radio operators, they want to see value in it, and they don't see value in talking about your crabgrass control. So have a topic, where you talk about how to identify radio frequency interference, or some of the best ways to construct an ad hoc field expedient 2-meter 440 antenna, things of that nature. So you can talk about those things and then go to a social hour. That way the people who want to stick around and socialize, they can, but those newer amateur radio operators who are looking for value, they get that. And at the same time, when you develop that training plan, share that on the MCOM wiki site so that everyone else can steal from each other. I spent 38 years in the Army as an operations planner and intelligence analyst, and I never once wrote an operations plan from scratch. And I work for an agency of the federal government that does emergency management. You can probably read between the lines there and figure out who it is. And when I go to a disaster, we never write an incident action plan from scratch. We have a template that we follow. And it's the same thing. You should never have to write, one of those from scratch. There are plenty out there. They may not be the best in the world, but that's okay. Take it. It may, but odds are you can find a 75 or 80% solution to whatever it is you're looking for and localize it for Virginia or bring it up to standard. And please, use that. And of course, the other one is hamcommunity.com. Jim Alyanak, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name horribly. Hamcommunity.com. That's a communication site where he calls them clubs, correct, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really a forum or a special interest group, but the way the software is set up, it calls it clubs. So you can go in there and set up, like say, what we were talking about earlier, sharing presentations. So you can go in there and do that. And on the MCOM wiki, there's also a calendar. So where you can share those as well. And let me, like I said, we're running up against the time here. So but I'm just going to show you the section-wide calendar. And again, on that section-wide calendar, if you have something coming up, you can add that to the calendar yourself so that others can see it and know what's going on and contact you to share your Zoom session or join in on it, glom off of each other, or, you have an event like you're having an antenna build session, people can go and join in with you on that. And again, those are both free to use.
So
And
Jack, I think we should wrap it up at this point and say thank you to everybody. Is that fair?
oh, yeah, definitely, thank you. And remember, my email address is ke4lwt@arrl.org or at gmail.com. So anytime you have a question, concern, snide remark, obscene gesture, yeah, please feel free to send them to me.
And I'll send out a after action email and everybody will be on it. So you'll have all our email addresses and some things we talked about here. So what do we think about wrapping it up for the day? Is that a fair thing? So thank you all. We really appreciate your input. And hopefully you'll see some of these ideas slinging back in a cogent way, probably underneath the GOTA for Life umbrella would be a guess, but maybe not. Depends on the topic. But we're here, frankly, to serve your needs. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for your time.
You bet.
Right.